Hello, welcome to my presentation, An Exploration of Self-Care in Social Workers in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Hi, my name is Natalie Lewis, and this presentation is for my class in Psych 815, where I'll briefly describe my research paper idea and the development of the hypothesis. Background initial literature review. Warzenik 2023 talked about social workers can have experiences of high levels of work-related stress, can lead to negative effects on their job performance, and it can also cause compassion fatigue, which placing extensive self-care techniques into practice, such as seeking and participating in mental health counseling, establishing and maintaining professional boundaries, and self-reflection that can improve their stress levels. Bressi and Vaden 2024 talked about emerging viewpoints that magnify the connection between professional and personal experiences and suggest that self-care should be seen as a diverse process rather than a fixed group of interventions. Additional background shows that Shepard and Ewell 2020, Bloomquist, Wood, Friedmeier, Trainer, and Hay-1 2015 shared that some specific facets of LCSW's jobs place them at risk for burnout, compassion fatigue, as well as secondary traumatic stress disorder. Mott and Martin 2019 demonstrated that self-care significantly reduces burnout and secondary traumatic stress. Also increases compassion satisfaction, which leads to the development of negative compassion outcomes. Due to the high risk of burnout among social workers, Lee and Miller and Bry 2020 saw the significance of self-care in this field is frequently discussed, and self-care must become a priority in the field and in the workplace, according to Miller 2019. The gap is studies have displayed that there is a major disconnect between social workers' awareness and actual use of self-care. And Zhang's 2023 study on social workers found that high turnover rates in this field stem from a number of factors that included burnout, complicated professional duties, and unreasonably heavy workloads. Warzenik 2024 additionally shared that the consistent problem of professional burnout among social workers has significant implications for individual practitioners, also client outcomes in terms of functioning, and whether or not their organizations will be sustainable. The purpose of the study is to give some necessary understanding into how social workers can begin to place self-care into practice, how often they do it, and how this ultimately affects their own well-being and client progress. The research question consists of what is the relationship between reported feelings of stress between social workers who are working in medical, public, and mental health settings, and how often they engage in practices of self-care. The null hypothesis says there's no statistically significant relationship among social workers' experiences of self-care, and this would be assessed by being measured by the self-care assessment worksheet within the U.S. Virgin Islands in areas of all settings therein to include medical, public, and mental health, etc., and how often they engage in practices of self-care. The alternative hypothesis says that there is a statistically significant relationship amongst social workers' experiences of self-care, and this would be assessed by being measured by the self-care assessment worksheet in the U.S. Virgin Islands in the areas of all settings therein to include medical, public, and mental health, and how often they engage in practices of self-care. The variables for this study, there will be no use of control variables. Self-care is assessed by the self-care assessment worksheet, and the self-care behavior inventory will be the study's dependent variables. The factors causing stress, as determined by the Matchlock burnout inventory, will be the study's independent variable. Psychological and biblical foundation. When social work, psychology, and biblical ideas are in the presence of each other, they can present with a holistic way in the understanding of human behavior and providing compassionate treatment. According to North American Association of Christians in Social Work 2020, social workers are able to recognize that psychological, spiritual, and social issues can be a part of the makeup of an individual's well-being. And in conclusion, thank you for your time and attention to this proposed research study. Social workers are in need of practicing self care, as their job tasks can be taxing on the mind, body, and spirit. And the limitations of the study may pertain to the small sample size that live and work in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The study may need to include other U.S. territories as well, such as Guam and American Samoa. In all things, keep God first, and social workers should remain steadfast in this ideal. While they help others, they need to take care of themselves through self care, and in turn, we all serve God while He protects us all. Again, thank you.